me a thumbs up. Yep, okay, cool. Hi, everyone. I'm going to be presenting to you a little bit about the recent research that the managed team has done around code review analytics. And we've bundled that with research around the table component within Pajamas as well. I'm Nick Post, if you don't know me. And the rest of the managed team, if you don't know them, are Amanda Hughes and Daniel Mora. And our manager is Mike Long. And he should probably be in here as well. So I'm going to set a little bit of background context as to sort of what the context of this this research is all about. So earlier on, a couple months back, we set a OKR for ourselves, like a little self-imposed OKR for ourselves in Manage. And what we wanted to do was to update a component design and documentation within Pajamas using solution validation, and as well as doing this process, test with user, as well as testing with users, also testing the usability of the component itself with developers and designers within GitLab, and doing some basic desktop research and best practices and accessibility, and then bundling all this sort of stuff together till we sort of refine and provide recommendations on how we improve the components, how we improve Pajamas process and structure and all that good stuff. So we're going to be focusing on this end user usability testing section, which is the research that I've covered. And this is just sort of showing the timeline of this OKR right now, which was set over the quarter. And we're just around this stage where we're finishing off the research. So what were the research objectives? So in the context of this OKR, the research objectives were to test the usability of new and existing designs for tables in the context of code review analytics, which is a new MVC feature that we shipped in the last couple of milestones. So in this, we wanted to test the existing functionality within tables. So how the relationship between search and tables works, as well as pagination, just to make sure that that's understood well by users. New functionality, so chucking in a couple of new things like sorting, using columns, integrated pagination, expandable rows, user-defined table columns, a lot of good stuff there, and also testing out some new styles as well around like stripes and row padding. And we tested these with 6 engineering managers or team leads. The way we prioritized and came to these bits of functionality that we wanted to add to the table was through this little prioritization exercise in Mural right here. And that's just a little demo of it. So in our approach, we set the user as a scenario and we gave them 3 tasks. So as an engineering manager, they were looking to see how they could unblock different MRs in their code review process. The first task, we actually used the live code review analytics feature, testing the existing functionality. Second one, we used a sketch prototype, testing some of the newer functionality, and you can see this sort of stuff here, such as this roll down and these pagination and the zebra stripes. And then the third one, we had a bit of a generative discussion around table padding, and there's a little toggle thing that we gave them to play around with, and we just talked about what they preferred in terms of the row heights and padding and all that good stuff. And at the back of it, we have these research artifacts. Here's the issue for the planning, and we also have the research plan and discussion guide and notes all in one Google Doc. We worked as a team to analyze and synthesize the outputs of the research in Mural, which was really useful. And I thank Catherine and Mike and Dan a lot for helping with that. And then finally, we summarized it up as an epic with little sub-insight things as we should do normally. And you can access those all through the links there. This is just a little taster of the Mural synthesis that we did. Nice and fun. So what are some of the insights that came out of this? So for code review analytics, some of the insights and recommendations that we got, we found that the audience that we tested with, who were predominantly team leads or engineering managers working with small teams of 5 to 7 people in sprints, didn't see much value in the tool in its current state, primarily because they didn't have that many MRs to go through, and it was sort of handled outside this. So we need to test this with bigger organizations, but with the users that we did test it with, there wasn't too much utility. Users didn't really differentiate much between the code review process and MRs in general. This was sort of hinted at by the fact that they wanted to see a lot of pipelines and context to this. They wanted to understand whether the MRs were open or closed, where if it's code review, it probably would be open anyway. So there's a little bit of stuff around there. And users also wanted to see more advanced filters and fine-grained controls in order to manipulate the data within the table. These were just some of the top insights. And the recommendations that came out of the back of it were the reframing this tactical type of code review analytics, where you have a number of tables and you're looking to unblock different MRs to MR analytics, and then having different views to give you better access or understanding of what the MR is going through. So code review could potentially be a specific view of that. Having a more aggregated or strategic view of code review analytics within our value stream analytics framework could be a new way of going about it, and thinking about and using this as a method of finding patterns and spotting patterns and filtering away data to sorry, I can't speak today, to understand a little bit more about your process and how you may improve it. There is a recommendation for having or creating a pattern for toggling labels on and off, so they're not too obstructive of a view within the table. And then finally, reevaluating our definition of code review is a big definition as well. Table components, some of the key insights and recommendations we have here. The relationship between search and filter is very well understood with the audience that we pitched to, but there's room for more clarity, especially if there's more components on the page. They were asking for some sort of visual signifier to show the relationship that the table had actually been sorted by the filters or the search bar themselves. Users wanted more functionality from tables as well. I think there's an expectation, just default expectation, for table sorting and being able to hide rows, especially in the context of unblocking MRs. And then zebra stripes were a hit as well. I've been made fun of before for pronouncing it zebra, so I'll say zebra for the American audience here. Top recommendations. Table sort, I think that's a given. Embedded pagination, this is the new design which I showed a little bit earlier. Implementing that sort of made sense to users, especially when pages get a little bit more complicated as well. Filter signifier, so having some sort of a visual relationship between a table and the thing that has actually filtered it, such as a search or filter bar. Implement zebra stripes and advanced filter as well, and exploring how we may go about with that. So we did a little mini retrospective on this research approach. What went well? There's a lot of good learnings, in my opinion at least, from the table components and the feature itself. So I was really happy with that. Really happy to be able to collaborate with the rest of the team, and Dan was great as well because he helped come in and take notes and stuff on the interview sessions. I think this is a useful way, or a useful research approach, which can potentially be templatized for refining the content within pajamas. And then really grateful for the broader support from the rest of the managed team, and Emily and Catherine as well. They are really useful in this. And then what didn't go so well, since this was sort of like a side activity for me, I didn't give the scenario planning and the tasks enough focus and thought. I could probably done a lot more work in the prototypes themselves to maximize learnings, but yeah, that's a learning for next time. And then again, I think there's a little bit of a fuzzy line between the methodology that I used between usability and design evaluation, which within the single tasks that we gave the users, that could have bias to the learning slightly as well. How could we improve for next time? Research pipeline, giving Emily and Catherine a better heads up, I think is a big thing. I'm really bad for that. Documentation, the process is laborious, so I'm looking forward to dovetail for sure. Learning goals, try not to cram too many things into one project, which I'm very guilty of. Use cases, being able to see how the component fares within more use cases would also refine the component itself. And then also want to try out like this rainbow notes approach that I saw before. So that's some of the learnings from our retrospective. So next steps, as I said before, this is in the context of the broader OKR. So there's the other aspects that we want to be testing. And what we're going to be doing now is taking these recommendations, taking these insights, and starting to feed them back into Pajamas as a design system. So yeah, we're coming to the design phase of this now. So some questions I have for you, and feel free to provide this feedback either to me in Slack or just on this and comment within the Google Doc. Any critique on this content or process? Anyone like to talk to us about getting the designer or developer perspective from this OKR as well? And is anyone interested in sort of replicating this feature plus component approach together? And if so, how can we assist? Special thanks to all these people right here for all their help throughout this and all their inspiration and collaboration. So I'm really appreciative of the team and really happy to work with everyone. Special thanks to all of you for putting up with me as well. So thank you very much, and I'll stop sharing. Any questions? Cool, I'll hand it over then.